Welcome to the Sable Society. This is Maree, and this is another episode where you can join me, a Sable, someone who has a stash acquired beyond life expectancy. If that sounds like you, then you're in good company, and welcome. The Sable Society is a place where we talk about Knit August Nights, which is the event, it is August, people, 11th of August. It is a little over 3 weeks away. Super excited about that. There is still time to register if you want to sneak in a last minute registration. knitaugustnights.co.nz. There's still some class spaces available. And if you're on the mailing list, you would have seen that the movie, we do a Lights Up movie every year, and that movie is now available. And that is at the Globe Theatrette, and you don't actually have to register to attend. So make sure you also check that out. Details on that are on our social pages on Facebook, and also too in the Can group. So make sure you check all of that out. And that movie looks like an absolute goodie. Written by Stephen King, starring Tom Huddleston and a whole Chitterwell Elijah Ford and a whole cast of great people. So yes, do check that out. But I wanted to catch up with you because I've got some finished items to show off, and also some more yarn and things that you may actually see at Can. I spent the weekend doing some labelling. For the first time ever, Sable Society is going to bring you some exclusive yarn. To my knowledge, not available. This yarn isn't available in New Zealand. It is using a contact that I had in the old life at Skeins. Someone that we didn't actually necessarily use, but we'd had sampled from them. And I reached out to them because I really liked what I saw. The first thing, of course, that I've shown you has been this. I've called this Colour Helix. This is Icelandic wool, 4-ply or fingering weight. I've knitted this in my favourite Niada. These were some sample wools that I'd had, and I'd had in stash for ages. Absolutely fell in. Well, I just always loved the look of it. But like anything, when you're a Sable, the stash runs deep. You'll know what I'm talking about. You know, there are things in the back of the cupboard, things all over the show. Well, this was a case with these 3 balls. And I dug them out. Absolutely love the look of them. There they are. They're absolutely gorgeous. Knitted them up in Niada, which is my favourite go-to pattern if I want to test anything out, because I just love these, thresh these. And I was just struck at the quality of the yarn, how soft it felt, how good it felt. It just was fabulous, really fabulous. So I reached out to the supplier, to the mill, and they do actually have stuff available. I don't know whether you can hear my dogs. I hope not. I hope this mic is directional enough that you can't. But I've got the dogs in here today because it's cold and the heat is on. Don't you love it? Anyway, what was I talking about? Right, this, yes. So I contacted them, and I've now bought in a selection of colours. So these are the ones that I did yesterday. I bought actually 2 lots, and I bought a first run in and then looked at them some, and I bought 6 colours in. And then I thought, and I went and got another 3. These are the second ones. This is like beautiful, soft, spring, gentle. I mean, this is Hawksbane spring, this colour. So those there, they're all part of the same run. So you get like a graduation of those sorts of colours. And the other one I wanted, this is the other new colour. I undenied about this the first time, and I'm glad I got this because I think these are my favourites. Look at those. Ooh. Oranges and turquoises, and so excited. So they are going to be available exclusively at Knit August Nights. So if you're registered, you get your first little pause at those. You'll be able to purchase those along with Can merchandise and all sorts of other little bits and pieces, along with all our other traders as well for the market. Or if you're a member of the public, our public market is open on Sunday from 9 till 12. So you won't miss out on that if you want to come and attend that as well. And if I've got anything left over, you're more than welcome to purchase. Looks like that I'll be able to get those down to $10 a ball, which for 400 metres Icelandic wool is pretty good going for a yarn of this quality. I'm really delighted. So that's the first yarn. That's Colour Helix. The other yarn you may have seen me talk about has been a selection of hand dyed yarns which I've got, and this is what I've got left over of this. I had to dive into another skein actually. I was kind of hoping not to do it, but I did have to do it. But that's okay, because I've got enough in here to do a hat or something else with. I've definitely got enough to do a hat. So this was one of the hand dyed. I called this one Berry Cappuccino. Isn't it gorgeous? Yeah, I just love it. Absolutely love it. Soft pinks and taupes and fawns and soft sort of mochery chocolates. Delicious. And I paired it with this beautiful, lovely mohair. So I've got 20 shades of this mohair. This is my next job this week, is labeling these. They've all come in unlabeled. So 20 shades of this, all in varying sort of soft colours. So you'll be able to find something. And as you can see, it is a very fine mohair. It's lovely, gentle, fine. It goes beautifully with this. It would also go beautifully with this as well. And what it does is it just adds just an absolute merest smear, just a little hint, just a whisper, just a rumour of fluff and softness. So this is a sport weight. These, oh gosh, now my dog's having a conversation with himself. This is the sport weight. So it works at 270 metres for 100 grams. So it's a really interesting in-between weight, sport weight, because you can actually have a bit of latitude, a bit more latitude than you might think. If you're happy with the meterage, you can knit it like a full ply, but it knits in that sort of really nice zone in between DK and 4-ply, because sometimes 4-ply can be too fine for people, for other people DK can be too heavy. So it sits in the zone, and it's really easy to modify your patterns, either move up or move back to actually sit into that new gauge. It's a very simple mathematical movement, and usually it sits roughly anywhere between sort of 15 and 20% in sizing difference, depending on your pattern and your graduations in your pattern, to be able to do that shift. What it does allow you is it gives you a really beautiful fabric. Now, I've combined those two yarns together. By combining those two yarns together, I did some swatching, and I found that on a 5mm needle, I got this very lovely light fabric, and the mohair was just enough at that gauge, and I got an 18 stitch gauge, just enough at that gauge to give me a nice light fabric with a cover factor, and it also has sort of a beautiful floaty feel. And of course I made, if you knew, you knew, there it is. Ta-da! I made another love note. Shocker. That is it finished. And you can see the fabric that it is made is absolutely gorgeous. Really lovely fabric. Divine. Now, if you've knitted this before and you've listened to me on the skein stories before, you'll know what I'm going to say. And what I'm going to say is, you may have heard me say I knitted this on a 5mm needle. If you've knitted Lift Note, you'll know that it's knitted on a 6mm needle. Have I knitted it on a 6mm needle before? Yes. Have I done it in mohair and a fingering weight yarn, as they have suggested, on a 6mm needle before? Yes, the last one I did was like that. But this fabric, so combining this with the mohair, really is a DK weight fabric with a little sense of blush to it, a little hint of softness and bloom. Having knit, they do suggest in the pattern, so Love Note by Tin Can Knits, they do suggest in the pattern that you can also knit it using a DK weight yarn. My very first Love Note was knitted that way. What I discovered with my very first Love Note was that whilst I still wear that Love Note and I love it dearly, and it's still one of my favourites, the fabric, maintaining the fabric in that Love Note has been a challenge. It has pilled, it has pulled. I had to do some mending on it because it was just the gauge at 6mm for that weight of yarn was just pushing it, I believe, beyond its realistic capabilities. 5mm, on the other hand, with a DK weight yarn, you can actually get away with more than comfortably. So I have since knitted a one in Highlander Heathers in Southlander, which has just been on special at Skeins, and I've now done this one using a 5mm needle. Now, because the size graduations and the amount of ease in this pattern are so great, I didn't even change the size. So I knew by dropping down by a 5mm needle, I'd be losing around 15, it was about 15-18% in ease. But the ease was so much that dropping back and losing a little bit of size on my finished garment, and it's really only in the width and the wear, because the length I was still able to measure using tape measure. It was just really the ease number that I lost. So losing that amount of ease actually wasn't a big deal. And to be brutally honest, I got a much better fit using the slightly smaller sizing than the original OG sizing. Now, the mohair and 4-ply that I did in a 6mm needle, which is the one that I did last time, that one, funnily enough, I did do on a 6mm needle, but the mohair was much more, it was a much more bloomed mohair. It was the Whisper, was it the Whisper Fine? Was it the Whisper? No, it wasn't. It was a DK mohair. It was a much bigger bloomed mohair. So the extra ease got taken up by the extra bloom. Whereas with this, it's very, very subtle, very soft. I mean, you wouldn't, if you were to look at this, you wouldn't realize that I've double stranded this together. Like the mohair just melts away into the color of this, completely melts away and disappears. So this is definitely the way to go, is playing around with that ease and doing that ease. So that is what I've gone and done with this. I've already worn it once. It looks fantastic. I've got it together with what it is that I want to wear. So I'm really excited about this. I've done it as a sample so you can see what the two things knit up like for Knit August Nights. So you can actually see both those mohair and that hand knitted working together, which I am super, super excited about. So that's it there, all finished and done. So of course, having finished that, which I finished last week, having finished that, my next dilemma is, what do I cast on next? These are the yarns that I pulled together. As you can see, they tell a lovely autumnal story, and it is witch's tit cold here at the moment. So I wanted something straightforward. So I had these 3 yarns. I had 100 grams of this, 100 grams of this, and a single ball of silver lining. Right, what have I got? So in stash, some of you, if you're a true Skeins Sable, you've probably got some of this lurking around in your stash. This is silver lining, 100% Arapawa. And we also did some merino. It was actually heritage merino that we did. So these, look at that, undyed chocolate, beautiful chocolate, natural merino, absolutely stunning, buttery, buttery, buttery soft. And this was the darkest shade that we did, actually the least popular, funnily enough, but it's just a gorgeous colour. And we did that. We did a light silvery one that you adored. We put some colours over it. We also did silver lining Lumiere that was like this very fine 3-ply, beautiful. They were some heritage fleeces that the mill had managed to get hold of. So we could only do very limited runs. A lot of them were Arapawas. We had some Hokanuis. The very first batch, I think, even had some Stewart Island merino in there. It was amazing. So this was, that was that. Absolutely gorgeous. And that's, I think, from the original batch. We only did that chocolate the once. White gum. Many of you may know white gum wool out of Tasmania, the Midlands and Tasmania. This stuff, if you love to knit merino or you want to knit something that is the softest thing that you've ever felt in your entire life, this is your jam. It is absolutely amazing. Nan uses these incredible growing techniques for her flock. Just incredibly brilliant. Super, super, super fine micron. I think this is sitting somewhere in the vicinity of about 17 micron. It is amazing. So I've got a ball of that. And then lastly is this little guy here. As you can see, kind of has a homespun vibe about it. Looks a little homespun. This is from Great Ocean Road, which I purchased. There's a neat little story about this. Remember how I've always said to you I love to buy yarns when I travel, and for me, I don't buy souvenirs. No tacky t-shirts here, my friend. No, I don't tend to go away and buy tacky t-shirts or hats or anything like that when I travel. If I can find a yarn store or someone selling yarn, that is what I have a tendency to buy. Now, in the case of this little guy here, this was part of the 2019 a 10-year anniversary Knit August Nights cruise, which we took in November of 2019. And there was 50 total on the cruise. And on one of the days, the day before actually, we sailed. We took a day trip up to Tandwandcourt, which is about an hour and a half out of Melbourne, which is where we sailed from. So we went inland to Melbourne and we went and visited the Dennis family there. It was such an incredible day. Now, the Dennis family in Tandwandcourt are the family which founded the Polworth breed of sheep. So it's just this historic farm. We got to see, I mean, I think Tom, who now runs the business, well, his brother runs the farm, Tom runs the business. I think they're now 5th or 6th generation doing it. They have a homestay there. They make their own yarns under Tandwandcourt branding. And the yarn is just absolutely gorgeous. So because I was bringing the group up from the cruise, we had a coach full. Because I was bringing the group up from the cruise, Tom got his mate Nick, who owns Great Ocean Road Woolen Mill, to drive up the road and come and say good day and bring some of his yarns as well, because they've got this gorgeous farm shop there. And I bought this off Nick. And he's got his own little woolen spun woolen spun card, and again, super soft, very, very soft, but very, very rustic. It is done in such a way it's not combed. So there is lots of little bits of, how I got this through customs, I have no idea. Lots of little bits of vegetation in there, but the feel and just, there's a rusticness to this, which I just love, and it's utterly delicious. I only had a single skein. I bought a couple of skeins off him, but this was one of them. So I thought the three of these together, from a colour perspective, all worked really well, because we had one in light, one in dark contrast, and one in mid contrast. And what I am all about this year is using and knitting patterns and designs, because we buy lots of patterns and designs, and it's great to support the designers to do that. But so often we will only knit them just once and then be one and done. Why? Because you bought them. And I am a really firm believer of knitting your favourites again and again and loving them. So hence my friend Love Note, which we all know, somebody from down south who shall not be named absolutely hates. And if you're coming to Knit August Nights and you do happen to have one of those in your wardrobe, please pack it. Please pack it, just to drive him crazy. But what I am doing is the Harding Road cowl, which, as you know, I've been doing. And look at that. You can just, even when you hold it back with the colours, look how well those colours work together in this tessellating pattern. Woohoo! Really, really happy with it. Super happy with it. So I went with the light, actually, as my main colour here, instead of this, which I've actually got more meterage of. I may end up doing if I've got enough, I may end up doing a hat with that as the main. But I did that only because I just knew I wanted the chocolate and the ochre to really pop. And to allow the chocolate and ochre to pop, I needed this to be the main colour. So that's what I've gone and done. I'm over halfway through it, I think. I just need to count up. Really, really happy with how that's going so far. It's the Harding Road, and now, of course, I've held this up and I'm dropping stitches. It's the Harding Road cowl. So that is available on my Ravelry page. It is free. It's mosaic slip stitch colour work. So what that means is you're only ever working one colour at any given time, and it's all done by slip stitches. So there's no massive floats or virali. It's just all literally knit slip, yarn forward on one round, knit slip type scenario. So it's really, really, really straightforward and easy to knit and free and a great gift. So if you're looking for a super easy project that you can just bang out, I mean, honestly, once you get established, it's, I mean, so easy to memorize this pattern. It's brilliant. And the Harding Road hat, which I've also got that goes with it. And I did make some mitts actually when I went down south. I haven't written that pattern up yet, but I love that tessellated idea. I am really I'm feeling a vest coming on. I know, right? Sort of I am feeling a vest coming on. I'm away in October for about 3 weeks. And I just sort of have this feeling that I may take yarns with me to do that. I don't know. I'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, when you get into the vibe of something that you just love and you want to keep doing it, that's what that is. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I should have that finished fairly quickly. And then I need to decide what I cast on next. And I am thinking I might go back to some colour helix again. Because the colour helix is 200 meters. I'll think about this. No, 400 meters per 100 grams. Sorry. 200 meters. Yeah, I need to relook that up. I've just realised I think I've mislabeled all the balls. Anyway, it's 50 gram balls. 200 meters. 200 meters is what it is. How annoying when you know you make. Anyway, it's 200 meters a ball, and it's weight-wise, it's very similar actually to the Mahana that Skeins did. I know if I double-stranded that together, I could get a DK or a 10-ply. So I'm actually toying with the idea of actually potentially double-stranding the colour helix and doing something with that in a DK weight. I'm not really 100% certain yet. Or doing the colour helix with the mohair. I don't know. I haven't known. What I am going to do is I'm going to go through all of the patterns that I've already purchased and own, and I'm going to see what I've got in my collection of patterns and actually select something from there, because I've got a whole heap that I've got on board, in the days that you go down that rabbit hole and you have a look and something, oh yes, I really like that, and then you buy it and then it sits there and gathers dust and you've spent money on it and you've not actually done anything with it. Yes. Do you do that? I do that. So I'm going to look for a pattern book. I've got a collection of pattern books that I've kept. I've got 5 cartons out there that I'll be selling at Can. 5 cartons. But I've gone and selected my absolute favourites, and I've kept them. And I've kept all my absolute favourite leaflets. I've kept them, and I'm going to go through them and see what I can find in there and potentially make something from that. That's the plan at this stage. You know me, it could change. Anyway, the last thing too, of course, is that I'm trying to use yarns from stash, and the cowl is a great example of that. But I'm actually working on a case of, if I purchase anything, I have to know that I'm replacing stash. Okay. So then I need to have worked through some stash in order to fill a hole. Now, I've been really good and have not bought anything with the, like from an external supplier, not bought anything since I left Skeins. I know. And in fact, even when I was at Skeins, I don't think I bought anything this year from Skeins, even before I left. I left at the end of March. So I was like, And then Claire is doing such a great job over there. She's absolutely running with the ball. She's having a ball too. She's really knocking it out of the park. And as of course many of you have seen, the equipment is now been settled and it's moving down to Wild Earth. So there's lots. It's a very exciting landscape at Skeins at the moment. And one of the things that they've been doing is lots of rotating promotions. And I have to admit, I've been finding it very hard. I've been having to sit on the hands and keep the fingers away from keyboards because it looks so good. I've been knitting loads up from stash, loads up from what I've had for samples, because essentially the Love Note and the Niara that I'm doing are all samples for the new yarn. And then finally, she got me. She got me in a skeins trap. Oh, see, I know, because I've been setting skeins traps since 2009 for everybody. So I know how you feel. Well, she got me. She got me 2 weekends ago. This past weekend has just been Highlander Heathers, but 2 weekends ago, and I knew she would do it too, was Gaia. And I don't know how many times I've said to you how much I adore Gaia. Gaia was on special, and the no surprises at the colours that I've selected. Look at that. So I've literally gone and bought, as you can see, 15 balls of each. I have gone and bought a full-on garment lot for each. What I'm going to knit out of those yet, I don't exactly know, but I wanted to ensure that I had enough to do a proper fully fledged garment if I chose. So yes, do keep an eye out. If you're not on the Skeins newsletter, skeins.com, make sure you jump in and get on there, because there is going to be some incredible specials. And if Knit August Nights is coming up, so whenever there's an event, Claire has a tendency to get her markdown pen going. So do watch out. I don't know what it is yet, but do watch out for that. And there is bound to be something there. Right, I'm going to get going, but hey, thank you for joining me today for the Sable Society. Again, knitaugustnights.co.nz if you want to register or check out what it is that we do. And if you're wanting to see what I'm up to, follow this channel. Very important. Press the subscribe button, press the notification button, that's the little bell, to see when videos get uploaded, or follow me at Knit August Nights on Instagram or Facebook. But until then, take care, and I will see you again very soon. This has been the Sable Society with Maree. Happy knitting, happy stitching, happy life. Take care.